around that $27 million? Thank you very much.
I call the Honourable David Cunliffe.
Thank you, Mr Chairman. I thank the Minister for his intervention on the previous question. Mr Speaker, we're in Schedule 1 and touching on the amendment which includes the substantive part of this SOP, which is the addition of $27 million for non-departmental output expenses for the demolition efforts in Christchurch and another $3 million for associated demolition-related property purchases. Mr Speaker, I won't take a long call, but I do want to underline a couple of important points. The first is, obviously, the whole House is unanimous in its support for this provision, and that reflects that the whole country is unanimous in its support for the people of Christchurch, that we all stand shoulder to shoulder with them, even though we're not living through day to day the aftershocks and the disruption and the lack of water and the lack of sewage services, and in some cases the lack of electricity and heating. But Mr Speaker, any of us who have families or relatives there or elsewhere understand how terribly disruptive and morale sapping that must be. Mr Speaker, on the subject of morale, I think it's fair to say that there has been a perceptible shift in mood since the last major aftershocks, that people have, if you like, shifted the questions that they're asking from we're going to get through the immediacy of this to what is the longer term game plan for recovery and rebuilding. There are many streets in the low-lying areas of Avonside and Bexley and other areas where those living there are living through terrible, terrible disruption, living in broken homes, and they are unclear whether they will be able to rebuild, whether their insurance costs will cover it, whether they will be forced to move. The SUP is around demolition costs, and I'm talking about demolition. Yes, and it includes CBD costs, of course. But as the mood is around the CBD, so the mood is around where people live, which is the need for certainty and the need for a plan. And at the moment, people don't have that. They are now turning to the government and they are saying, how long will it be before we know what the plan is? Mr Speaker, it wasn't long ago that I was in Christchurch and having a look at the CBD, and it's an extraordinary sight, as we all know. The scale of the devastation on a brick-by-brick basis is so much more than is captured on our TV screens. And it was even more eerie at night, frankly, where you'd expect the CBD to be lit up, but in the centre of Christchurch there's nothing, only darkness, because there's no power and there are no people and there's nothing going on. It's just walled off. And it's clear that much of that CBD will have to be demolished. And the latest aftershocks only increase the concentration of sites where that will be required. What's not clear, sir, is what will be rebuilt, or where it will be rebuilt, whether it's actually tenable to build a CBD on the same spot or whether it will need to be shifted. What design would proof us from future earthquakes? What design on the upside would give us the world's best small city to live in? And that is the opportunity that's before Christchurch. But Mr Speaker, you'll sense the shift in the mood, the shift in the question from getting through the day, the week, the month of hardship caused by an earthquake to asking the positive question about what is this new place that we're going to get to. If it's not simply the rebuilding of what we had, and sadly it can't be, then what is the new place that we're going to get to? And it's for that reason that in my earlier remarks, sir, I drew the connection between the rebuilding of Christchurch and the rebuilding of New Zealand more broadly, because all New Zealanders are feeling hit.
Point of order, the Honourable Member Amy Adams.
Mr Chairman, has this debate now become one of a general discussion about the rebuilding of Canterbury? My understanding, sir, was it was reasonably tightly constrained to the two specific changes to the SUPs, which are around demolition costs and property acquisition costs related to demolition. If it is, in fact, sir, a wider debate around the rebuild of Christchurch, I'd be grateful for your advice on that, because it seems to me that the member is straying well off the matters in the SOP.
The member is correct in saying that it should be around the non-departmental output expenses and capital expenditure, but I've given the member a little bit of latitude given that there was some confusion at the start of the debate, and the member's time is almost completed. I call the Honourable David Cunliffe.
Thank you, Mr Speaker, and I think for the people of Christchurch and Canterbury, while they appreciate that there's important work to be done in the CBD around the direct demolition costs, that any discussion of that legitimately touches on the broader concerns and feelings about the need for a clear plan for a rebuilding of the whole city, of the Canterbury economy, and sir, the same mood exists around the broader country about the need to rebuild our shattered economy. Mr Speaker, the House joins together in supporting these amendments because the House joins together in supporting the people of Christchurch. And I want the people of New Zealand to understand that the Labour opposition, citizens of New Zealand, like the government and like every other party in this House, that we care deeply about Christchurch and its people. We care deeply about New Zealand. That's why we're here and we support these amendments. Thank you.
I can't hear the member.
Chairman.
Thank you.